Well, happy holidays, everyone. We're in December. We missed a couple weeks. Apologize to that extent. Thanksgiving, obviously, we weren't able to film the episode, and I was feeling pretty crummy after the events of going to Vegas. And well, I know what they say. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but I took what happened in Vegas with me. Got a cold, and then I got lingering bronchitis. So. Apologize. I might be coughing a little bit during the episode, but I'll try to hit the mute button as best I can, and we'll try to keep the thing flowing. But anyways, welcome everyone to the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Beside me, as usual, is Brit. How have you been, Brit?
I am good. I feel like we haven't talked on here in like 5 years. We were just trying to recollect the roller coaster that is the Avalanche. Like my brain's going in circles because it's been really, really crazy, but also just really kind of mundane. Also, like it's not.
It has, and
I don't know.
It's kind of tough enough already trying to recap what happened in a week, right? But try doing 3, right? And it's
especially when our schedule is so absolutely absurd. Like we played so few games. And now it's just like, I don't think that we have like a 4-day span without, it's like almost every other day for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, which is nice. I like turned the TV on today and I was like, ooh, there should be an Avs game. And I was like, geez, the COVID, like the bubble, like really ruined me. When it was like, you could just get a game every other night. And there was so much
to the TV. Yeah. I don't know. There's just the scheduling, I feel like, for the NHL really could take an uptick because, like you said, you will get 15 matchups one night and then one on the next. Yeah. And it's like, where's the balance? Like, what's going on?
Everybody was so excited for the Ice Cast. Is that what they called it? And then
Frozen Frenzy. Yeah.
The next day, I'm like, there's no hockey. Like, this is terrible.
It was cool. Yeah, I agree, though. It was really cool to have all of them going. Every half hour, there was a new one starting.
Yeah, but do we need all of them? Like even like 2/3, and kind of, I don't know. I know. It bugs me when I turn it on and there's like nothing. Like I can't even find one team worth watching. Even tonight was like pretty bland, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't remember who we watched for a little while, but I was hoping I could catch Kane getting out there, but who knows when that's going to happen.
Yeah, that is right. He is supposed to be starting today, huh?
Is it today? Because that's what
it might actually be done.
But I'm sure they're going to shelter him, which I would too, because you got to set that tone right. So I'm real curious to see.
I think it actually might be tomorrow.
Oh,
they're not playing today, so
yeah, I don't think so. We watched some like super boring game. Oh, Rupe Hintz though got a nice hit to the face though, and we were watching the Dallas game. Can't remember who
Are you not a Hintz guy?
No, I'm not anti. I hate Dallas, but like, you got to think that every like head office guy was up there crapping their pants for the Golden. Like they can't lose him. They absolutely cannot lose him. Like that's
true.
But that's how we are with Cam Carr too. Every time somebody looks at him wrong, we're like, leave him alone. He's very valuable.
Very good. Well, before we get started, don't forget everyone to like, subscribe, follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. You can also follow them on the various social media platforms. It's just MHRT Network. And if you want to follow us, you can follow us at the Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook, and then Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, X, Instagram, and Threads. Okay, so a couple housekeeping items that have happened in the past few weeks that are noteworthy. The first one that we hadn't touched on until, it's out there. It's been out there for a while, but still want to get our thoughts on it. And that is the Sam Girard announcement that he's entered the Player Assistance Protocol program. Mm-hmm. So he's been going through a lot, which ultimately I believe ended in some alcohol abuse, and he's getting and seeking help at this time. Initially, we had no idea what had happened. We thought just, he got hit in the leg, or he's just, he tweaked something out for a game. No, he decided it's time to put himself first and take care of himself. And honestly, I mean, what can you say against that? I feel like if you're trying to talk against that, you're a fiend. You're a terrible person, because at the end of the day, hockey is just a game, right? And you do have to put yourself first in a lot of these types of situations. And players are now starting to do that more and more, which is good. It's a very welcome thing.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let you finish, because I am very, very I've always been a staunch supporter of Gerard. And as we can all see now, he is valuable to this team. And Bo Byram is not Gerard. And we are struggling greatly. Bo Byram is struggling greatly. And beyond who he is on the ice and what he does for this team, how much his contract is worth versus what he brings the team, his locker room presence that is appreciated, the trustworthiness that this team, Bednar is not a trustworthy coach. It takes a lot. You can get out of his graces very easily. And Gerard has worked so hard. How old is he, Nick? I know we all think he's like 29, but he's like 24 years old. Just turned 24. Something like that. He's a baby. People treat him like this guy that's been slagging around forever, just eating our cash and just not doing shit. And they just don't remember that during the bubble year, he was at the top of national news Norris votes. I mean, he just is a person. He's such an easy scapegoat. He's just a whipping boy. And that's what now it went directly to Byram as the whipping boy. And I just I consider myself like, I like poking fun at people. I'm also somebody that like self-deprecating humor, but I try to be mindful of the things that really hurt deep down. And I just, in light of the Bedard incident, also the Corey Perry Bedard incident, I truly can't imagine that the things that people say, sending death threats to him through his dog's Instagram account, I cannot imagine that doesn't have some kind of effect on him, and that didn't lead to this in some way or fashion, because it essentially was anxiety that he was trying to treat with alcohol.
Yeah,
and if you ever watched any interaction with him and anyone else, his beautiful new wife, he is seriously just like a goofy. And his dad is all over social media. I think it's Colorado Avalanche forever. There's been times that his dad has chimed in about people not saying anything, going so far and above and beyond, just saying he's overpaid, we need to trade him. I think this is a sensible trade. People are vile and disgusting. I know that most of those people would never care about hearing this, but people just need to take a step back and like think of what you say, because it does. I think it really does get through NHL hockey players. And I think it's a huge factor in Gerard being gone, and we are missing him greatly. And I pray to God he can get through this and come back and, continue to be the great player that he was. He is underpaid, if anything. I don't care what people think. He would be a first-line defenseman on other teams. And it's part of not appreciating a small defenseman, but his skating abilities and his puck handling are beautiful. And it's getting more valuable as we progress into new age hockey. So I just think about what you say on social media, even to celebrities and professional athletes. Like, they really are humans. Maybe don't send their dogs death threats or send them death threats through their dogs. It's just, it really frustrates me. Same with the Bedard thing. Everybody forgetting that at the other side of this is an 18-year-old is just disgusting.
He
it was
started his
funny for like
career.
3 seconds when it was so wildly not even like it couldn't even be a thing. It's kind of goofy, but then once people really, it's gross. Because if it was a thing, it would have been even worse that it was such a thing online. It's gross. I don't know. I had to take a break from Twitter there for a while.
There were so many times, talking about Gerard again, where it's like, people might think that they just blast something out thinking they're, know-it-alls essentially, and they don't realize that some of these do find their way to the individual, and it takes a toll. It's like, what if that were to you? It's like, you don't know the guy, but he hates you, and it's like you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything to them.
Evil hate. It's not like a sensible sports mind. Like, it's evil and it's so
pure,
personal,
unbridled hatred, and that's like,
and we want them to interact with us. Yeah. What? Yep. And it's like, no wonder some of these guys just swear off social media. I'm pretty sure that they had to ban Mitch Marner from social media because it was wrecking him mentally. And could you imagine a superstar like Mitch Marner's career being ruined because some some chubby jerk in his basement drinking 95 Cokes a day is talking about how slow he is and he can't pass. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so gross. Just everybody needs to think a little bit more about that stuff.
The greatest tool is also the greatest evil in the world, and that is the internet / social media. It's nice for people when you want to get information, but it's a source of evil from a lot of people. It's bad. It's really bad. But
it's just like a microcosm. It's so.
It really is. No,
there's a reason
really
I
is.
argue on Twitter. I don't argue anywhere else on the internet, but Twitter is the only place I can bring it out of me. So congratulations.
Where you can truly be free.
Yeah. And it's usually just whose dog is cuter because I like.
That's right. Or in your case, I think I saw one of you, you commented on whose goalie pad setup was the best. And you said
Arizona. Absolutely. Always Arizona.
Yeah.
Always Arizona. Yep.
But anyway, so Sam Girard is in protocol. We wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully he can get the help he needs and come back ready and better than ever. But by doing so, we have had to bring in some people, a.k.a. Sam Malinsky and Caleb Jones. They have both been doing really good. Sam Malinsky has come in because Cale Makar has been day-to-day for the last couple of games. He's missed the last few. Bo Byram, I think.
Forearm, was that what that is for?
I don't actually know what happened. All I know is that during the first of the 2 Anaheim games, he just didn't show up in the last few shifts. And he wasn't there at all for overtime.
So maybe it's just a good load management, as they call it.
That load management. Jeez. If I ever hear that being actively thrown around in hockey, I'm going to start throwing hands. But what else? Let's see. So we got the injury news. So we talked about Cale Makar. Nichushkin was out for the last game.
There's some bug going all around because McKinnon was under the weather and questionable for one game. Nuke missed a game. Rantanen has been pretty much invisible, so I'm going to just pretend that he's definitely just got to play that head goal.
He scored a goal in like 5 games, 6 games.
Got a case of no goalsies.
Yeah, we need to trade him. We need to get rid of him.
A lot of locker rooms, though. Apparently, Kemper was very, very ill the other day, and their backup their third goalie hadn't got their pads in yet, so they had no pads. And
there you go.
So they had to put an e-bug out. Kemper went out and let in like 5 goals on 8 shots and was not happy about it, which is like, wouldn't you just like give your shit to someone and tell them to play in it? Like, I don't know. You'd think that they could find somebody about that size, but I don't know how hard the process is for getting, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know, but
no idea.
That's pretty sad. I've been lit up in beer league games and it's made me question like my will to live. So getting lit up in an NHL game makes me want to puke.
Oh, I couldn't even think if I played goalie. I would be so terrified of any slap shot that comes my way. You got more stones than I do, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. Crossed from like the terrified to like just anger.
There you go. Maybe that's what I need to do. Play angry and then come what may.
That's just so sweet. And so I hate that it was him. I just would have been Binnington. Always. All the bad things to Binnington.
Well, he's been part of trade rumors as of late, but
yeah, because anybody has
see what happens.
$6 million. What is it? What does he get paid? $6 million for 6 years?
Too much.
It just started last year. It's just so funny. Last year when he started tanking, and it was like, oh, and by the way, his contract is to start next year.
Ta-da!
He is the reason that goalies are never gonna get paid again. Like,
Yep. Okay, so moving on then. So we have a few games we do need to recap, but there's been a lot of them that have happened. So I'll just go through the scores real fast and we'll just kind of touch on a few key points. Just so that way we're not dragging in for 45 minutes of just previous games. We
hit on Lehkonen already, right? We still have no definitive timeline for Lehkonen. It feels like it's been a year, but I think we had talked about him already.
I think we talked about him. They said week to week, and I think that's still the idea. They did put him on IR, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they did? He's on my fantasy team, and when I saw him go to LTIR, I was like, oh, sad day. And then last night, I couldn't watch the game, and then I turned it on, and I saw the score, and I'm like, cool. And then I saw Bo Byram day-to-day, and I was like, oh, God, what? Oh, my God. Because I was just bits and pieces, and I thought he was okay, but no, that was a gnarly.
So 'tis the season to get injured apparently,
Wow.
and just in time for the holidays.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll start with, I want to say, which one did we not get to? So we'll start with I want to say the Avalanche and Predators, where we lose that game 3-4 in the most frustrating fashion. That one we'll come back to because I want to talk about that one.
Mhm.
And then the Avalanche beat the Canucks and the Wild. Let's see, beat the Canucks 5-2.
Yeah.
The Avalanche then beat the Wild 3-2, beat the Flames 3-1, beat the Lightning 4-1, and then they proceed to go on a 3-game losing streak, losing in overtime to Arizona 4-3, losing in shootouts to Anaheim 3-4, just flat out getting beat by the Kings 4-1, and then finally they're headed back to the winning ways where they play the Ducks again for the last time this season, ironically, 3-2.
Yeah, it's so weird that, so we'll have the Ducks and the Kraken out of the way already, won't we? I don't think we see either one of them.
I believe, yeah, we have the Ducks and Kraken already out of the way, which is nutty. Anyway, so I do want to touch on a couple of games. So first is the game that we lost to the Predators 3-4. I do want to bring up a point that we were ahead 3-2 with 40 seconds left in the game. Let that sink in. 3-2. We're up 1 with under a minute to play. They tie the game with 40 seconds left, and then about 20 seconds later, Cale Makar hits a bad patch of ice, lets the puck go, and just chaos ensues, and it ultimately ends in the back of the net. And it's one of those moments where it's like you can't do anything. There's like 10 seconds left in the game, and you're just like,
it was awful. And you could literally like see and feel the air. I don't even know, like everything got heavy. You could see everything just like, wow.
The whole thing just crumbled.
I'm going to go now.
I just can't believe it. I think we might have missed an empty net or two. Like,
yeah.
And that's why, kids, that's why you play a full 60 minutes of hockey to the fullest extent of your capability.
Yeah. Most of the Avs, like more devastating feeling losses have come down to 5 minutes worth of bad choices, and that's what the game is at the NHL level. You're looking to capitalize, but to be so egregious in such a relatively well handled game it's hard to swallow. And and then you're like, you know what, it's gonna be huge motivation. But it seems like every time we have one of those games that should be a springboard so that we go to the next team for our get good game, it's like something, it's just always something. Injuries, which I guess people are like, well, get them out of the way now. And it's like, well, it's not like a check mark that you have to check off and then you don't have to get any more injuries for the rest of the year. So I don't know. I just, I kind of worry about Cale, but I do think that he chooses to I don't want to say baby, but I think that he is a little more cautious than others might be, just to maintain through to the playoffs, especially when you consider the amount of ice time that he plays. So I don't know. Just that game was just flush it, and that's what we definitely don't feel it now, but it was not good. Not good.
Yeah, it was one of those where, like I said, I was just sitting there going, I can't believe what happened. Like, I have no idea. We were literally ahead 40 seconds ago, and we lost the game. I don't know. Just one of those where it's like,
a lot of people probably shut the TV off by now.
I know, right? And that's, again, one of those where you have to play a full 60 minutes, especially in those situations where you're only up 1 and they pull the goalie. That's a big crunch time moment, right? Where you need to get steals. You need to get dump it out of the zone. You need to try to get those empty netters. Yeah. But for some reason, it was just a massive breakdown. And it's just wild to me how that one ended.
Yeah.
Next one, honorable mention here in the Avalanche win over the Wild and this most recent game where the Avalanche beat the Ducks. Curtis McDermott scores 2 goals, 1 in each game. And can I just say they were
Connor?
really like technically amazing goals where he
They're
deeps the
beautiful.
goalie in the Minnesota game and he kick passes the
Yeah.
puck to a stick in the Ducks game and shoots it past Gibson.
Yeah.
They were sensational.
I literally
just
do not care what anyone thinks about him and his contract and blah, blah, blah. If you can't admit that he has like the smoothest hands for literally like an ice skating bear, it's you're not supposed to have hands that nice when you're his position, especially like when you look at his gloves, they're basically like giant. They're like Hulk hands because they're
really
so bad,
are.
you know. If
They
you look
really
at all
are.
the different varying gloves, like the fact that he can even move his hands like that in the way his gloves are built is just so beautiful. And he's just there's something the team, they don't put him out a whole lot, but when they do and when it goes right, you see the way that they react. Even Bednar, I think that's some of the biggest smiles I've seen from McKinnon since we won the cup is when McDermott does something.
Yeah, and
I mean, they love him.
Wasn't McKinnon on the ice both times?
I
know he wasn't this most recent one.
Right on the face. That's what I told him.
But
like,
it's amazing. It really is. So just little shout out to Curtis McDermott for 2 goals in the last few games. I think that'll really give him a big confidence boost. Next game I kind of wanted to briefly go on was the Avalanche over the Lightning. That one was a statement win. I was very impressed with the way they came out because that was one of Vasilevsky's first games back in full strength, and you hang 4 on him. Again, very impressed with just how they were able to, because it's Stanley Cup rematch. There's going to be lingering bad blood through the years.
Yeah, totally.
But just a really nice, comfortable win. Because that was one matchup I want to say at the beginning of the season where I said to keep an eye on, and they pulled through. It was a very, very good win. Yeah,
it's nice. It's just kind of one of those, like, even if they're a shell of what they were, but they're not. I know that it's about time to write them off, but it's not time yet. Like, there's just something about them.
Their window is still open.
As long as they have Vasilevsky, it's never over. And we have some angry people. And I know that I'm the worst, but I can't not. Did you see Vasilevsky fart during the interview? Did you see the interview?
I didn't think it was him. I thought it was somebody off screen.
I think it was him. I think they're trying to.
You think it was him?
Yeah.
Oh.
If there's anything that I love in this world, it's a funny fart and a goalie.
That was the funniest interview. I've already sent that to a few people around in my office and amongst friends, and they just laughed and laughed, and he forgot what the question was, and just everyone's
you can see him so tense, like, oh my god. And the reporter's like, total professional, pro move, because I would have passed out.
I would have been beside myself laughing. Like I would have probably had to leave the interview room to gather myself because I would be laughing so uncontrollably.
Oh, it's so good.
And it would, especially more so if that's actually the case where it was Vasilevsky himself that decided to kind of try to sneak one past everyone.
Didn't they just get pumped like 6-0 by someone? Or am I mixing up the Washington?
That was a game. Yeah, they got absolutely just drilled by Dallas, I think.
No, they didn't. Okay, but Dallas just got their butts whooped too. But I thought Tampa lost.
They went right back to Dallas and beat them. I remember that.
Oh, really? Nice. It's nice to see both of them lose. So if they can just share ass kickings, it's whatever. But yeah,
there you go.
It would have been really hard for me to hold back. Like, is that upset stomach possibly a reason that you guys might have struggled to? So funny. I'd probably quit hockey. Like, there's a lot of things that I can't deal with. Farting on national.
No kidding. I like I said, I would have tears streaming down my eyes, right? Like I already had them the first time, and I rewatched that video like 6 or 7 times in a row, just because I thought it was so funny.
Mac finally got his own phone, and I sent it to him, and he I think he's watched like 5,000 times by now. So we are a fart joke family.
It's funny. If you haven't already, guys, go check that.
Vasilevsky fart joke. It's like
Vasilevsky fart interview, whatever you want to call it. It's classic. It's a classic.
It humanizes the
classic.
robot. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, and that was Vasilevsky. So going back to the game, it was
Yeah, so
Vasilevsky,
that was
one of
what,
his
his
first games
second game back?
something like that.
And he's the same thing. It's these Russians, they let the stuff in from the blue line. I don't know what it is. Him and Georgie they both struggle with like 16-inch blocker side, middle slot to blue line, and it's just freaking wild because like they're over here just rocking 95-mile-an-hour, one-touch one-timers, and it's like then they get scored on from the line. And some of them don't even seem scream. So it's odd that they both have the same thing.
Yeah.
But he looked good. I mean, he does look good again, but he did end up getting pulled. He refused to get pulled, and they forced him to get pulled.
Yeah, I mean, and it happens to even the best of us, right? And I'm sure at some point Georgiev's just going to have an absolute stinker. Oh yeah, never you. You've never been pulled.
No, I pulled myself. I've never.
There you go.
You forced to be
pull
pulled.
yourself.
Yeah,
no one ever pulls you.
Yeah. It was weird. Did you see the interview after the game? Coop looks, and he's a man that I respect greatly. I think he's a brilliant lawyer mind that does a whole lot of manipulating with the words he uses in interviews, but I feel like he's
most backhanded compliments you'll ever get from him.
Yeah. He seems a little worn down. I almost kind of wondered if that forceful pulling of Vasilevsky was I think Vasi has to be angry, right? I think he's an angry fire under his ass. I don't think he wants people like giving him butt slaps, and good job, buddies. So we might see it. I don't know. I hope it's not I mean, good players should be good players for as long as they can, but also it could be Georgie instead. He could be the new Russian king, so we'll see.
He could, and I'm all for it. As long as he's on the Avalanche, he's got my thumb of approval. Yeah. And speaking of, I
was gonna say, frankly, he has been.
He really has been, and there's been a stretch. He played. So we had that stretch of 3 losses where we lost in overtime against Arizona, who
was like 4
seemed to be our kryptonite for some Lord knows why reason. Then we lose to Anaheim in shootouts, but I still think Prosvetov, who played that game, I still think he did a really good job. Problem is, as soon as Gibson let in 3, he shut the world down and let the Ducks come back, and that was more on the team. Kind of, Prosvetov is part of that team, right? But he can only do so much, right? And ended up losing it in shootouts. Again, you get the point, but you really like to go with the extra ones in those last 2, and then just the game against the Kings, just a bad game. That's really all I'm going to chalk it up to. Is just a bad game.
And we really were with them. I mean, okay, so
it was close until about 8 minutes left.
Like half of their team is on my fantasy team, but when you consider our lineup, I mean, I really felt like we did okay for really most of the game. It just fell apart. This is where like a back-to-back is kind of whatever, but when you're the traveling team on a back-to-back, you're on the second night of the back-to-back, you're meeting a team that's been resting for several days. That's the bullshit. Like schedule it so that team, it's just, I don't know. And I can't even fathom the amount of time and effort it takes, but it feels like there should be an algorithm, some super way above.
It should be easier than what people are giving it,
And then if anything afterward, there should be some way to go through and pick apart that little stuff, because those to me are the most ridiculous, awful parts of the schedule that ruin games and change seasons, because you could tell that they simply ran out of gas, and it's not because they're not they're not in shape enough or slow, or like the Kings are faster than them. I mean, the Kings are not this like super speed take you over. It's like more of a brute force. And so it's like, that's the proof on the wall. If we can't keep up with them and we're slowing down for a harder, heavier team, then it's just, I don't know. It's not fair. And just the schedule, like they go back. And so they had to play the game that's later than it usually would be, and go into overtime, and then go to the West Coast and play the earlier game. So it's like they literally had not much time between games, like as little as
in a day. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. I don't know. And then so we're missing Cale Makar, we're missing Lehkonen,
Nichushkin. Who else? Now Bo Byram.
Yes. And that's
it's starting to take its
toll.
That's
a defense that no team can lose. Those three. I mean, I don't know. But fortunately, I mean, there are positive things to talk about from these last few games. Josh Manson, he has played like
he's played really well.
That we just fell in love with. And I had almost like completely committed to the fact that he's not going to be around for long. We're going to have to buy him out. We're going to have to trade him with an asset. Like it really started.
I was in the same boat. I was
an absolute liability up until.
I think it was like a mental block or something that it finally got taken away, and he's kind of right back to when we first acquired him, where he's over here just hitting hard, playing really sound hockey.
That Ducks, there was a stretch there where there was a breakaway into the offensive zone. They had a big 2-on-1 on Gibson. Then they had a 2-on-1 back the other way, and they were just about to make a beautiful one-timer pass. Josh Manson back-checked all the way back into that play and took the puck. I mean, as a goalie,
it was amazing.
It is. I can't even think of the most like beautiful adjective to describe. Like, there's nothing more that you would die. I bet that his goalie was just so excited to, you just appreciate those people so much. And those are the kind of plays that like really, really, and this sounds so dumb, but they bond a goalie and the defenseman. Like the goalie and the defenseman is a very special, they have their own communication. They pick their own, they have their own ways. Like, you've got some guys that screen differently and stuff. And so it's just like, those are the kind of things that like really start selling teams to really buy into each other. And you got to wonder, like with Josh Manson, he's goofy and kind of weird, and Georgie's Russian and he's really weird and he shaved his head. Now we didn't talk about that.
And now he's playing great. Look at that.
He is, but Josh Manson, I'm just it really makes me happy because I do think that he is just such a sweet person. Like I just think he's a very kind person. And it's nice to see like really the only truly stable, like one of the more stable things has been Georgie and Manson. I don't know how you feel about Jones. I mean, we can just kind of go through the various last night's lines were absolutely insane. And we can just kind of address them to how it's going to go in the future. But we saw, deservedly so, Logan O'Connor on the first line, which he's earned. I mean,
and he scored a goal on that first line too. Like, and that's the beautiful thing about this is even though, regardless of those injuries that have happened, we're down Cale Makar, going to be down Bo Byram. There is no part of me that says this team is going to be filled with mistakes because of who we're bringing up or who we're moving into a new position. Like Caleb Jones, Sam Malinsky, heck, even Oscar Olausson yesterday. To me, they played really well. Mistake-free at least, right?
Soft.
But Caleb Jones and Sam Malinsky for sure have been very, very good. Jones specifically. It's only a matter of time for him to get a goal.
When he went up to that like almost fight-ish and he came in like, hey, I'm new here, but I don't like I gotta look like I'm part of this because this is how I become one of them. But
I gotta pretend like I'm one of them.
I swear that Jones guy just had a big bad hit on somebody else last week too. Did he punch? In the last game, he punched Devon.
He's gotten pretty scrappy, which is good because that's kind of
No, the other Jones, Max Jones on the Ducks, the one that hit Bo, because that was the one that Malinsky came. I don't think I mixed him up, but was it Jones? Was that his name?
Whatever his name I know the hit you're talking about, where everyone thought it was bad, but it was
it was pretty. It was
an unfortunately clean check.
Yeah.
But it's just his head that you're always just like, please not Bo's head. Please not Bo's head.
I know. We need to put one of those like race car driver head supports in. Like we're just.
I know, right? Yeah. But other than like I said, those new guys, they're playing mistake free, which is all you need at minimum, right? But I think of all the people being more aggressive out there has been Caleb Jones, and
I don't think
more power to him.
Out as certainly not a liability. I think that Olausson, it seems like his always detractor has been that he's huge, but he's just kind of soft, and he doesn't look prepared to take on the corners in the NHL. And just like a really good shot can't save you in the NHL.
Yeah.
It could be probably in juniors having a wicked shot and being a little skeezy about going down, but in the NHL you don't get those choices. And if you make those twice, then you're going to get lit up. So, but the thing is, I don't know. We'll see. But we have seen a couple goals out of Drouin. He's been up and down. It's kind of weird to me that he has. I didn't get a watch.
I think his overall play has improved, though.
Even though he's
kind of still going up and down, his confidence and his play have risen to a new plateau, which is very comforting to see.
Especially for him to take. There was one he didn't score, but he took the shot in one that I don't know that we would have ever seen him take that before, and then to see him assist last night is obvious.
Well, and I just think about what was it, the third goal that the Avs scored in Tuesday's game against the Ducks, where Drouin gets a rebound, a big rebound, and instead of trying to fire it to a scrambling Gibson in the hopes that maybe you score a goal, there's Nathan MacKinnon on the other side of the goalie crease.
Yeah.
And just the vision that he had to just quickly pop it into McKinnon's stick and McKinnon nets the goal. When I celebrated, I was saying that attaboy Drouin because just the
and
play
that's
that he made, the vision that he had. Yeah, it was amazing. So I think I would definitely say Jonathan Drouin's game has been elevated. Another player that his goal is coming. Mark my word.
I don't think it is.
It's Tomas Tatar. It's going to come. He
just knows that everybody's going to play that meme, and so he's like,
he has played to a point where right now he should have like 6 goals.
I think he's on pace for like.
But because of the most unfortunate puck luck that just happens to bounce off him or an amazing goalie save, he hasn't got one yet. But it is coming. I can tell. Dude. I can feel it in my bones.
Okay, so we've got Jones playing good. We're gonna have some really tough choices to make in the upcoming weeks about people that we really have liked. We still haven't even seen
Cogliano out. He's out too. That was another one we missed. Cogliano.
Oh, Cogs. Oh yeah.
Yep. That one totally skipped my brain. But yeah, Cogliano. That one. We should be able to miss easily on the penalty kill, but for some reason, I don't know why that skipped my brain.
Yeah, he just had another one. And, just one more shout out is like Jack Johnson's been playing like a boss. Like, I have to say that this is his last. And he is just real spicy, man. Did you see his like scoreboard? His yelling scoreboard? And then Logan O'Connor, man, he was going to kill a guy for hitting Bo. That was like, Logan was ready.
Couldn't blame him, but
it's a guy, man. Logan O'Connor is. If you have a kid who is like an elite level hockey player, without one of those things that makes them special, he doesn't have a shot. He doesn't, you know what I mean? Something that draws them apart. You show them Logan O'Connor's game, and Logan O'Connor's walking proof that just working your ass off is. I mean, he is the quintessential grunt worker, and he has worked himself from the fourth line from an undrafted free agent, right? An undrafted college free agent.
I believe so.
He's playing next to Nathan MacKinnon, and it's not scary, is what's crazy.
He's won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but were you stressed about them putting him on the first line? No.
Not at all.
Because sometimes we confuse him for Nathan MacKinnon because he skates as fast as him.
I do all the time. Oh my gosh.
I just love that guy, and I think that as like a parent and a coach, he is everything that you could want out of somebody who's struggling to find their way in upper level hockey because, there was so many times that they figure that this was about the end. He was reaching his maximum potential, that there's a lot of people. But that guy is like, he's truly a god. I hope that he stays in Colorado forever.
Yeah.
But I think he's pretty big on being Canadian. So
well, maybe, but I mean, he is a DU Pioneer graduate. So
yeah. I love him. I can
going for him.
Not enough about him. Ryjo's middling. He's up and down. He's just really slow. Yep. He's got to figure it out. It seems sometimes that he's able to adjust his game to be able to still, like, there's been times where he can be that, like that. I don't want to say slingshot because that word, but it's like he's that like teeter-totter point for facilitating the play, but doesn't have to skate as fast as the play, and then he can arrive late and fashionably late. Now it's worked out as a goal for him occasionally, but he definitely does look slow. And some people do look slow even though they're not, but he is arriving to the play late a lot of the time. So it's interesting to see if Ross maybe takes that position, or do you think that the 2C is going to be the priority over possibly another defenseman?
I still think right now I'm still comfortable with the 2C being Ryan Johansson. There were a couple games like these last 2 games where he did just disappear.
It's just kind of weird.
Which was, but to me it felt like, oh, that's weird. And instead of like, oh, again, right?
Yeah.
It felt odd, right? So as long as it's feeling odd that I'm not seeing much of him or hearing much of him, then I guess I think that's a good sign.
Liability, like it doesn't.
Yeah,
like I think then stand out for being awful.
Yeah, like I'm still plenty confident in him. I think he's got the 4th or 5th most goals for the team right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's because we got to give McKinnon score, and he's
4th. He's got 4th most goals.
What is going on with Brandon?
He wants to be traded. Clearly, he's playing so terribly that he wants out.
I know, but usually I'm like, God, it used to be like Brandon's playing so crappy, blah blah blah, and then we'd look, and he was scoring a bunch of goals.
He still has 12 goals.
He's in a weird slump the last 4 games, but kind of just his demeanor too. But if everybody's sick, you got to forget like doing this with a common cold. Like I bitch him on about just like driving my kid to school with a common cold. So I don't know. Right. It sounds like their locker room got hit pretty hard. A lot of them have, and COVID's going around pretty hard again. So you gotta be
yay. But he's got 12 goals, 19 assists. So what is that? 31 points and 25. This is Rantanen. He's got the most goals on the team still. I'm not. It's odd, I will say, but at the same time, it's just one of those where he just has a dry spell. He'll snap right back out of it, just like how McKinnon did and McCarr did, and they'll head right back to it. Okay, so let's quickly do our 3 stars of the weeks. I'm just going to say weeks plural because there have been a lot of them. And then we'll go into the upcoming schedule, and then that should take us, to the end. So my 3 stars, I'll go ahead and get started.
I'll just say that quick.
Hey, mine are going to be for personal reasons.
Okay.
At least one of them. So my 3rd star, because I might not ever get a chance to have him in my 3 stars again this season, is Curtis McDermott. Yes. 2 goals, very nice looking goals, surprised even myself, where when they scored, instead of cheering going, yeah, I just laughed. It was one of those where it's like, that was the most beautiful goal, like where he ekes Gustafsson and backhands it in. The other one where he kicks it over to his stick and gets it past Gibson, and Gibson saw the whole thing.
It's nice to be listening to Curtis when those come through. Did you listen to his goal call?
Yes.
Bo Dangles.
Bo Dangles. Oh, it was amazing. They called him the Chrysler Town and Country scored a goal.
I love it. My dad
was my favorite thing.
That's the best nickname on the face of the earth.
It really is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him my 3rd star. My only little slap on the wrist that I am going to give for him real fast is that dumb little penalty that he had in the last Ducks game where he just went and got a roughing call for no reason. And it almost cost us the game.
I mean, hadn't that already been like resolved, don't you think? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like there was no need to go back and it's like we already got a penalty. I think it was Malinsky. He was already headed to the box, and then McDermott goes and does that. And
it's hard though too, because I always think about, you never know though, like what somebody just said as they were skating by. Like we might think, I always wonder if like somebody's just says something real quick and snide, or there's some like deep underlying thing.
There is always that
with Deloriers. Where is Delorier these days? Wasn't he with the Kings before? It was like his mortal enemy.
I don't know.
At
this point, I don't care. But at the same time, it's like you have to read the situation. You're already down a man. Don't put yourself in the risky situation of going down 2 guys, which in this case,
it's like the epitome of like the don't take a penalty.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's where my post came, where I said a stupid
Mhm.
penalty almost cost us the game. And
Yeah.
that was it. So that was my only slap on the wrist for him. But he still gets the 3rd star because, like I said, I might not ever get a chance to give him one the rest of the season. So, 2nd star of the week's plural, I'm going to give it to Nathan MacKinnon. He eclipsed 500 assists with this last game, which was, again, an amazing accomplishment. He's in elite company, which if that surprises you, it really shouldn't. And he's got a point streak going again, a big one, especially with that home. I want to say he's like 13 home games in a row or something like that. Just crazy, amazing numbers. He has a few goals himself peppered in there. Not surprising. Overall, he's been really good. Whenever he's got the puck, I don't have that feeling like I did last season where he tried to play hero. And because he did that, he tried too hard and ended up making a mistake. I haven't seen that being the problem here. So been playing super quick. His stick handling has been amazing.
So like 4 players in Avs and Nordique's history. I mean, he's solidifying himself in very, very deep records. Ones that won't be beat for many, many, many years.
Exactly.
I mean, 4 players, and that includes the Nordiques, and he's
I think Stastny. Peter Stastny is the only guy that was also on that company more than once. But everyone else, it was like there were a couple other Nordiques players. Joe Sakic, I think, was in there. Like, if it wasn't obvious already, it should be now.
Yeah,
he's a generational talent.
From just about this point on, like from the Cup on, he's really just grounding himself more and more. Like at this point, he is one of the greatest Avalanche.
At this point, it's what you can achieve more, right? Because once you get a cup, obviously you want to go after more and have multiple cups. But it's just at this point drawing up the most beautiful resume on a
He's
career.
a freak of nature on offense, and then he goes out there just like he's not. His hands aren't worth billions and billions of dollars, and he blocks a shot just like it's no thing. And it's like, dude, you want to be like,
it was a stinger too. I was worried.
Oh my god! As a goalie, whenever my people try to block shots in front of me, I'm like, for the love of God, please don't do that. And I can imagine that Georgie's probably behind and be like, move, Nate! Like, you'd rather they score than Nate take one.
Don't do it. I can handle it.
But I mean, that's like, it says something to put your precious goals, like for these truly offensive offensemen. It's the defense guys, those big guys, they practice with foam pucks, they practice diving, they learn how to take it. There's an art to how you bend your elbows, your legs, that turn, you close your creases, and I'm sure that Nate does too, but like that's not his job. So it really is respectful to see him do that. I don't want to see him do that, but kudos,
but he still does it because that's his commitment to the game of hockey and the team.
There's no quit in him. Like it kind of terrifies me and it kind of excites me. So
that's a power of chickpea pasta. So maybe he's onto something, and the rest of us are. He's playing 3D chess while the rest of us are playing checkers.
Zadorov is
given. So my first star of the week, I am giving it to Val Nichushkin. He had a scoring frenzy going on for like 8 games in a row, 6 games of which he scored a goal consecutively, and then he got points the rest, and just amazing where it's like he's back to the way we wanted him to be before his injury last year, where it occurred at about this time. He's back to kind of fulfilling the value of his contract. He's playing amazing. You can definitely tell when he's not on the ice. He's very noticeable. His presence has been a factor, a really important factor. And
that it wasn't at the beginning of the year consistently. And I think a lot of people were really sick of it, after the way that last year ended. So it's nice to see him get that.
It is.
New dad bump. Is that what that is? You wouldn't think you'd play better with a new grandchild in the house, but
he might. But now that he's got that dad energy going on, he's been unstoppable.
Yeah.
He's, like I said, he's been a really important presence, especially out in front, getting those tips in. He's got most of his goals from tips, but those are some important ones because they might otherwise have just been steered right to the goalie's glove.
Yeah, well, we lost
You know,
so much of that presence in Gabe. And I know I'll say it over and over again, but I cannot stress how important that was with Gabe. I mean, that's just such a special talent to screen and just shovel. I don't know. I miss Gabe so much. It hurts.
it's so strange because it's like we've been 2 seasons now without him going on our second season. And it's like at this point when he comes back, it's almost going to feel like it's a free agency signing where it's like, oh, who's this Gabe guy? You know, no, that's our captain of what, 12 years, 11 years, something like that.
And he's only like 31.
I know, right? And it's going to be great. It really is. But Val has made a really good net presence. Johansson in some points, but more so Nichushkin, where it's like when he parks himself in front of the net, you're like, okay, just fire something on that. Nuke will tip it in. Yeah. So I'm going to give him my first star of the week. There a lot of almost any player I name really could be deserving of any of the stars. But I think those were the ones that stood out to me the most.
Especially at any given time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of like we talked about the depth that the Avalanche have is that anyone could have a crazy night. Like Bo Byram, the first game against the Ducks, he nets 2 goals.
Right.
So
he starts talking shit and he goes
at any time.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. Your 3 stars of the week's plural. What do you got?
Was Nuke your number 1? Did I get this?
Nuke was my number 1. So I got Nuke number 1, Nate number 2, and Curtis McDermott number 3.
Oh, bro. Okay. So my number 3 is hard. And I guess I'm still emotionally invested, even though I dropped him off my fantasy team. I'm going to go with Joanne because I love seeing his minutes have gone up. His responsibilities have gone up. His confidence has clearly gone up. We're kind of seeing it jiving. And people think that this is not Halifax. They're not going to score like 90 billion goals together and go win the championship and right off into the Sunset as besties. But like to just see them do some work is so nice. And that is coming together enough. He's getting paid $825,000. If he can play, 15 minutes a night and score 10 goals a year, that's sufficient. Like it's fine.
Yep.
You're seeing him smile and like joke and have fun. And part of it too is like if you're paying him $825,000 and he's somewhere that, like as he has mentioned, he has had suicidal tendencies. He's somewhere that he wants to live, like and be alive. Then that's a success in my eyes. Yeah. And so number 2, 2 and 1 are hard for me because I know that I'm really biased, but I just got to go with Georgiev. Like he's really, he was pretty down there for a while and it was pretty consistent with the team, but he has come up really big in some games that he really could have dropped. There's some games that I think there are a couple that he would like to have back, but for the most part, I think he's giving us all the saves that we deserve and a lot of the ones that we don't. And to see him just kind of maintain this relative consistency, even with all this turnover, all these new defensemen, the rotating defense, that's it's hard for a goalie to get used to that. Like you have, especially in the NHL, like they know, you got to know how your guys play in front of you. So that's a lot for him to adjust to, especially, I don't know how great his English is, but probably a little bit of a barrier there. And then my number 1 is just LOC. I know I keep saying it, but when you think about a guy who was literally didn't I say he was like planning to go work at his grandpa's suit shop? He was going to take over the family's suit shop and
he was going to take the family business. Yep.
He was going to have a good time. And now he is, obviously he's not a first liner, but
he has shown that he can be if needed.
I just have so much respect for a guy like that. It's incredible. And I think that everybody should relentlessly praise a person that works that hard. And let's just hope that he doesn't go 38 games without a goal now.
He's an elite company where he scores 3 shorthanded games consecutively. So
I was gonna say,
listen.
But he got a 5-on-5 goal, right? That was the
and a very well earned goal too, where the puck squeaks behind John Gibson. He notices it and muscles his way past and puts it.
If we could just put Curtis McDermott's hands. Oh, sorry, breaking up. We just need Curtis McDermott's hands on Logan O'Connor's feet.
Oh, there you go.
Connor's just kind of got like rock solid hands, and like it's so nice to see his finishing abilities coming together a little bit better, or at least just like a little more luck. And then you've got McDermott who skates like a whatever you want to put on it, but he's got just such great hands. And it's like those two together, man. Logan O'Connor, I keep meaning to look at the NHL edge because I just don't believe that he isn't on the top of some of those speed bursts, which Nathan MacKinnon is kicking everyone's ass for the most part on any regular average. Nathan MacKinnon, his number of it's like the 22-mile-an-hour speed burst or whatever. I can't remember, but essentially what I'm saying is Nathan MacKinnon is the best skater in the world.
He really is. And he's got the numbers to prove it. Him and Makar both have 34 points on the season, most of which are coming from assists. But guess what? Assists equals goals, right?
Well, and that's part of, I feel like he's accepting that role, kind of being the honey and letting the bees follow you and then, shooting it over. It seems like they're letting it be drawn to him and allowing others to get some business done. So it's whatever. They don't ask how.
And you even notice it in the games where if he goes with he's rushing into the zone with the puck on his stick, he'll get double teamed. That means that there's going to be someone left open.
You've got freaking Cale Makar open. It's just
right. And so it's like that. If that's happening, that's a great sign. That's a very good sign. Yes. So I mean, keep it up, and he's still finding
unless he falls, and then he starts pouting until the other team scores. I could do without one. I tell you, the mom in me, I just grab him by the ear,
pull him by the hair. Do you understand what you're doing?
I thought we were totally grown out of that, but everybody's got to be loudly whiny occasionally.
Everyone has their vices, right?
His emotions on his sleeve. He really does.
He does. The anger and so does Mikko Rantanen. Okay, so that being said, we'll just quickly wrap up with the upcoming games for this week. So tomorrow, we're recording this the day before because there is going to be a game during our normal time. So apologies to everyone. We aren't going to be able to see your comments live. We apologize. But the Avalanche do play the Jets at 7:00 on Thursday. For us, it is tomorrow, but for you guys watching, it will be today. In fact, it'll be right now. Let's see. They play the Jets. That's a home game. Then Saturday, they'll play the Flyers. That's another home game. Monday, the Flames, another home game. Oh, these are all home games, actually. And then Wednesday with the Sabres.
A 5-game home streak, I think, coming up. 5-game home stand.
Something like that. Yeah, we played the Ducks already, so that's 1. So then Jets, Flyers, Flames, and Sabres. Yeah, that's 5. So big homestead going for us.
The same teams over and over and over again. We've got Jets, and then
hopefully
we play
new
the
ones.
Jets twice, the Flames twice, and then we play the Sharks again. I mean, we just see them all within such short successions.
Weird scheduling thing where we play the same 12 teams in the first half this season.
In between. I hate it. Have we even seen an actual East Coast team? When do we play Toronto? Oh, there's the Islanders.
I know we had a small East Coast swing, but
we don't see the Bruins until the 8th of January.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then we got the Leafs, the Canadiens. But yeah, I just our schedule's pretty. If you look for the whole month of December, it's pretty mid. I mean, should be very, very handy.
It's a very achievable schedule. The only one really that I'm looking into is the Jets. And I shouldn't say that because the Coyotes are there twice.
Quietly, okay.
They're a good team, and that so we'll quickly talk about that one real fast. So the Jets, the thing for me is their teamwork. They have a very, very good chemistry, even though they've had a few. They just signed Nita Ryder to a 3-year extension, but they just have a very good team chemistry. It's they know how to mind talk to each other about where they're going to be, when they're going to be there. That's the only thing that really is concerning to me. So they just need to make sure that they're on top of their game, because if they leave a back door open or if they leave a secondhand pass, someone gets caught in the slot, whatever it is, that could ultimately spell trouble, because they are a really well put together team as far as their chemistry, and that could equal really good goal opportunities that could leave Georgiev turned around upside down and backward. So that would be my only concern with that. For the Flyers, they've had a pretty good team too. They're 13,
You know,
10
they're
and
close.
2.
Did you hear him up there talking smack on the mic? He's talking about they got big old balls. Like he just got his team like on a thing, like on a heater. They're feeling good.
They're on a heater, yeah. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm not very concerned because the Flyers play with power, but they don't quite play with grace.
But when it actually comes down to science, they suck.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like this is going to be their dud game. Now, watch me be completely wrong, but I think it's just a big wake up call to Tortorella and the crew to be like, yeah, you're only second rate, you know.
Yeah.
The game against the Flames, again, we beat them 3-1 in a very pedestrian win. I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same. They haven't really picked up any steam, but haven't let off any. So it's kind of, to me, it's probably like another 3-1, 4-1 win, my guess.
Everybody wants the Flames to have this like big resurgence because they're supposed to, because they got rid of Sutter, but it's like they'll win 2 games and then they'll just kind of thin out again. And it's like they just cannot find themselves, and they might.
There's just no rhythm.
So bad.
So bad. Again, so like I said, pretty pedestrian. I'm not looking too much into that one. But we'll discuss it in next week's episode, obviously, and see what.
Yeah, it might be hard for them to stay focused with all of the kind of lackluster storylines. I mean, we just don't really have a whole lot to get up for. So hopefully we don't end up getting our butts kicked by one. You know, be it the Flames.
It could be. And then the other one, the last one for the Wednesday game is the Avalanche play host to the Sabres. That one is a game I want back. I want a revenge factor to be put into this because we got blanked by them 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, in a game that I was like, again, I told people that I wanted them to lose a game against Buffalo. Yeah. I really shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, I get it.
Hindsight, because it was like, yeah, we lost, and we lost in terrible fashion. So, that's a revenge game that I'm like, you really need to get that one back because that's the last time you're seeing them that season. I'd hate to be seasonals swept in the season by the Sabres.
Oh my god, gross! Especially when they're not good. We should not be upset by them. So
right now in a losing record, but then again, they could catch a heater, and we could be in the middle of it. Who knows? But I again. It's a Sabres team that they have been a few injuries here and there. Some people just getting their legs back. I feel like it should be a nice, comfortable win. But Eric Johnson coming back could be a more emotional moment. They might lose focus. There's a lot of things at play in that particular game. So, anyways, those are the 4 games coming up. Jets, Flyers, Flames, and Sabres, all of which you could easily achieve a win.
It should ideally be very uneventful. We should casually win them all with no need for the drama and get healthy along the way. Because I feel like there's a lot of bumps and bruises right now.
Yep.
Except Devon Taves, man. The guy's like just a horse.
Yeah. As long as there's no stupid penalties made that almost cost you the game, then I'm okay with it come whatever outcome.
Yeah, we'll see.
So. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap up this episode. Brett, I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I just read Berkey's Law. If you're a reader, if anyone's a reader, it is so good. It is absolutely like one of the most interesting books I've ever read. I love Brian Burke. Highly suggest it.
Cool. Berkey's Law. Go check it out wherever Berkey's Law is sold. Amazon? Somewhere.
Yeah, that's where I got it.
Okay. Okay, so we'll wrap it up here. You guys probably at this point are now turning on the TV to go see them play the Jets in a divisional matchup. So hopefully they win that game. But thank you once again, everyone, for watching the Clusterpuck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network. If you want to stay caught up with any of the episodes from the network that go on throughout the week, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when all the shows, including us, go live. You can follow us as well at the Clusterpuck Podcast on Facebook, and then Clusterpuck Avs on Twitter, X, Instagram, and Threads. With that being said, we hope you guys have a wonderful beginning to the holiday season. Stay safe out there. Stay warm if you're in the cold weather. Don't get sick. It's not fun. Coughing. I've been coughing for the last like week.
Yeah.
Annoying. But yeah, stay healthy, stay warm, stay safe. Let's watch the Avs win 4 games in a row. And as always, go Avs, go.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.